Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Satarsham Shishimati Shila Esi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Adanta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Iskon Bhakti Founder Acharya Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Satarsham Shishimati Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Das Thakur Ki Jai Principal Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Bhagavan Shri Sargora Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Bhagavan Shyam Radha Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai Shri Radha Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Dham Ki Jai Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shishigor Nitai Ki Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai Ram Navami Mahanotsava Ki Jai Kamalaya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Kathana Kupa Prashadam Distribution Ki Jai All glories to the Ascended. All glories to the Ascended. All glories to the Ascended. All glories to Shri Guru. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way in which we can take pure devotion sense. I bow down to his lotus feet with great honor and bliss. When his grace went across the ocean of the hills of Hari and obtained mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified and the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the reflection that fills all his eyes. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with justice and vision. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic pain and memories, like making me notices to joy. The Vedic scriptures sing to strength. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, friend of the poor and the loving master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful to us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame spread all the devotees. We take shelter of the lotus feet of Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vana Chari Yamuna Nachari Yamuna Tira Vana Chari Yamuna Anachari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Nittai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Sutra Satashmat Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanande. Glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim yasam tato jaya udiraye nashta prayeshu apatreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtike. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Hare Krishna. No need for shloka, I'll just read. Yeah.
From where?
Yeah. Okay, translation. I understand. 9, 11, 20. Yeah. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 11, Text 20, which describes the glories of Lord Ramachandra. Nedam yashora kupate sura yachancha yat lilatanur atika samya vimukta damana. Okay, actually, Nedam yasora rakupate sura yanchan yat lilatanuratika samya vimukta dhamna rakshovado jalati bandhanam ashtrapugai kim tasya shatruhanani kapaya sahaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Ramachandra's reputation for having killed Ravan with showers of arrows at the request of the demigods and for having built a bridge over the ocean does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. Lord Ramachandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravana. So, it's a nice shloka describing that Lord Ramachandra's glories are always sung and glorified, and even his glorious activities are not required for his glory. He's always glorious. And then on the top of his glory, he also performs glorious activities. And certainly he was not in need of the monkeys. That was the pastime, to engage. Of course, these are not ordinary monkeys, we understand. These were the devas, his dear devotees. But the Lord is in himself most powerful and glorious. Translation, purport. As stated in the Vedas, Svetashvara Upanishad 6.8, Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidayate. Here's the other one. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, na tatsamas chapyati kascha drishyate, parasya shaktir vividaiva surate, svabhavikai jnana bala kriya cha. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do, and no one is found to be equal to or greater than him, for everything is done naturally and systematically by his multivarious energies. The Lord has nothing to do, na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Whatever he does is his pastime. The Lord has no duty to perform to oblige anyone. Nonetheless, he appears to act to protect his devotees or kill his enemies. Of course, no one can be the Lord's enemy, since who could be more powerful than the Lord? There is actually no question of anyone's being his enemy, but when the Lord wants to take pleasure in pastimes, he comes down to this material world and acts like a human being, thus showing his wonderful, glorious activities to please the devotees. His devotees always want to see the Lord victorious in varied activities, and therefore, to please himself and them, the Lord sometimes agrees to act as a human being and perform wonderful, uncommon pastimes for the satisfaction of the devotees. Om Jnana-timirandasya Kinanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bhistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Lord Ramachandra's reputation for having killed Ravana with showers of arrows at the request of the demigods, and for having built a bridge over the ocean, does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. Lord Ramachandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravana. So this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 9th canto, wherein we find some description of Lord Ram's pastimes. Usually when we speak of Lord Ram, we refer to the Ramayana. But still in the Bhagavatam, and of course in many other Puranas, we also find the description of the glorious pastimes of the Lord. And here two of his great activities are highlighted. The killing of Ravana with the showers of arrows, which was required. We know Ravana has 10 heads, and it's quite a monster, quite a Rakshasa. So to kill Ravana was quite a task. And also to build a bridge over the ocean, and that also with stones that float. It's quite an amazing achievement, right? And still, the Lord has always been glorious and always will be glorious, whether he builds a bridge or not. That's the point. That he's always glorious and is not dependent on such activities. But the Lord appears to perform such activities for his own pleasure and for the pleasure of his devotees. That's the main reason why the Lord appears. And that's also emphasized again by the acharyas, that the Lord comes, he performs his pastimes, and then he leaves. And the sadhus, they repeat the pastimes, and the devotees listen to that pastimes. And by that shravanam kirtanam, their heart becomes purified, and their love for the Lord is reawakened. And in this way they again establish their relationship, and they return actually back to these eternal pastimes. So that's the process. The Lord, out of his mercy, comes into this world, also manifests the eternal lila that anyway take place also in the spiritual world, and he manifests his glorious activities in this world, and in this way attracts the conditioned soul back to him. And we know Krishna is the Lila Purushottama, especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who performs all various of Leelas. And Lord Ram is known as Maryada Purushottam. And what is Maryada meaning? Ethics, principles, rules, yes. This is the Lord, Purushottam, the Supreme Lord. Of course, he also performs Leela, as we just heard. But Krishna, the main reason why Krishna comes is to perform Leela. Yeah, on the way he also kills a few demons, actually quite many of them. But still the main reason is to perform Leelas and to attract the devotees. And that's there for all the Leela avatars, we can say. But in the Lord Ram has this specific duty of establishing the principles, ethic, rules. And of course then we have Gauranga, who is the Prem Purushottam. He comes specifically with the goal to distribute pure love of Godhead to everyone. So there are different avatars, different mission. And the Lord, in Lord Ram Chandra's case, he really wants to establish the proper behavior. Because, we can listen from Krishna when he speaks Bhagavad Gita, but maybe we should not always follow Krishna's footsteps, right? Can we steal how you say, butter? Makan, he's known as Makan Shore. Can we steal the clothes of the ladies when they take a bath? Can we dance with many girls in the middle of a night? No, we cannot. I mean, probably to say, if you can lift the Govardhan hill, then you can start to consider whether you want to have also Ras Lila. But you first lift the Govardhan, then we can talk about Ras Lila. So we can't just imitate or follow in the footsteps of Krishna when it comes to activity. Yes, his teachings given in Bhagavad Gita, we should follow them. But for the practical example, that's why the Lord came again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. He felt that I need to give a practical example. He played the role of a bhakta, of a devotee, so that we can follow. But also the Lord appeared as Lord Ram, and as Ram, he shows the perfect example. Being the perfect king, being the perfect husband, being the perfect brother, being the perfect, everything. And the Ramayana, as we know, consists of 24,000 double shlokas, and has 7 parts. The Balakand, which describes the Lord's birth and his early childhood, and then the Ayodhya Kand, which describes Ram's life in Ayodhya, and of course also his dramatic banishment into the forest. Then the third Kanda describes the Aranya Kand, describes Lord Ram's life in the forest and the abduction of Sita. Then the Kishkinda Kand describes the capital of Sugriva and how Lord makes friendship with the monkeys. And then the Sundara Kand describes how Ram's passage to Lanka, and especially Hanuman's search for Sita. Then we have the Yuddha Kand, which is Lord Ram's war with Ravana and killing him. And then the 7th, the Uttara Kand, which is Ram's life after returning from Lanka to Ayodhya. Today, as I have done in the past also, but I didn't got the time to come up with something else. But we would like to focus on the Kishkindakand, or especially Sundarkand. And therein, the main focus is Hanuman. And although we are celebrating, it's not Hanuman Jayanti, it's Lord Ram's appearance. And we said something about Lord Ram already. But how do you please the Lord the best? By serving, glorifying his devotees. So in that mood, let's glorify Lord Ram's most dear devotee. And in this way, hopefully, attract also Lord Ram's mercy. So we know the story, as we said in Kishkindakand. Ram and Lakshman, they entered the forest. They got a hint that they should find Sugriva, that Sugriva may be able to help them in the search of Sita. And Sugrivas, they see that these two warriors, they look strange-looking warriors because they look like brahmanas, like yogis or those who live in a forest, but at the same time they're very strongly built and they also carry weapons. So strange mix of yogi and warrior. So they are, So Hanuman is sent to find out, and then Hanuman brings them to Sugriva, and Sugriva tells his story with his brother Vali. And Sugriva says, yes, we can help, but before we can help, we first have to solve this problem with my brother Vali, and the Lord helps and kills Vali. And then there is the rainy season, they had to wait. And then finally, Sugriva organizes many large groups of monkey armies who go in all different directions to search for Sita. It's described all kind of different monkeys from all different regions. They come together and they search for Sita in all directions. But Lord Ram, he knew, or he had this intuition, that most probably Hanuman will be the one who will find Sita. And why did Ram knew that it will be Hanuman? What do you think? Of course, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows everything. But still, what makes Hanuman so qualified that certainly he will be the one who finds Sita? He has the most devotion, right? And Ram could see that Hanuman has so much devotion, and the one who has most devotion will be the one who will be most empowered. So that's why Ram knew, he has so much love for me. Certainly, he will be the proper instrument to be empowered, and he will be the one who will find Sita. So Ram therefore gave one of his rings to Hanuman, so that if he will meet Sita, he can give the ring in order to prove that he actually is a messenger of the Lord. And then comes in the group of monkeys where Hanuman is, they were looking and they couldn't find Sita in the first place, and they actually became quite hopeless and helpless, and they were sitting there, and they also were tired. They were not eating for a long time, and all of a sudden a great vulture came with the name Sampati, and he was eager to devour these monkeys. And the monkeys were like, ah! And then in their anxiety, they called out for Lord Ram. And that's, Ante Narayana Smriti, that's what we are supposed to do, right? When death approaches, you should remember the Lord. So they chanted the names of Ram, and they chanted not only the names, but they also chanted the glories and the pastimes of Lord Ram. And in that, they also mentioned how a great bird named Jatayu, sacrificed his life trying to rescue Sita from the hands of Ravana. And when Sampati heard Jatayu, he said, "Jatayu, he's my brother. It's my brother." and oh, you are devotees of Lord Ram. In this way, in that case, I will not eat you. And then that Sampati actually gave a very important information. And he said, "You're looking for Sita. She was taken by Ravana, and Ravana lives in Lanka. And Lanka is on the other side. You have to go in this direction." So then from this information, the monkeys knew that they have to cross the ocean and go to Lanka. But they were questioning, who is able to jump so far? And all the senior monkeys, they were kind of calculating, okay, I can jump without having a stop somewhere, maybe so many yojans, so many hundred yojans, this much, that much. But everyone's, yeah, maybe I could jump so far, but maybe I can't jump back. I don't have the strength to jump back. And then, all of a sudden, Jambavan, he said, "I know someone who can jump as far as it's required. This is Hanuman." And then, in this way, Hanuman's memory was reawakened, that actually he got all mystic powers. But Hanuman had forgot about it. No, he didn't know anymore. But he was reminded by Jambavan. And of course, we know the story of Hanuman's background. And in some way, we are also in a similar situation, that actually, originally, we are eternal spiritual souls, and we are full of all powers. We are Satchitananda. We are full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of what else? Ananda, eternal. But our original identity is covered, and we have forgotten about our true glorious. And if the spiritual master comes and he reminds us, you're actually a servant. And that's why the Guru gives us a name and says Das, Dasi, and encourage us to again identify ourselves as an eternal servant. Then we are reawakened to our original identity. And then we can become very powerful, because we get empowered by the Lord. We're taking shelter of the internal energy of the Lord. So anyway, in Hanuman also had forgotten his powers, because he misused his powers, and now he was reminded again. And we know Hanuman, he is actually known as Shivaputra, Vayuputra, and Keshari Putra. That means he is the son of Shiva, he's the son of Vayu, and the son of Keshari. He has 3 fathers. How is that? Well, it's described how an Apsara, Punchikashtala, appeared on this earth as Anjani, and she married in the dynasty of the Vanaras. The Vanaras are the monkeys, special monkeys, but the Vanara dynasty. They are like half man, half monkey, or divine beings actually, and she married Keshari. At the same time, Lord Shiva was meditating and reciting the names of Ram, Ram, Ram. And Parvati was asking, which name do you chant? Ram, Ram. And Shiva said, this Ram is actually a name of Vishnu, and the Lord will soon appear in this wonderful form as Lord Ram, Ramachandra. So I meditate about him. He will appear to lift the burden of the earth, and he will also kill the great demon Ravana. And then Parvati, but Ravana is actually your devotee, no? He performs great sacrifices to please you. Yes, but Ravana is in ignorance, because he doesn't know that I'm also a devotee of Ram. And actually, I will appear also in that pastime in my 10th manifestation. So basically, and from there we can understand that Hanuman actually, he knows my 10 incarnation, but he doesn't know my 11th. So Hanuman is also considered to be the 11th Rudra incarnation of Shiva. So there is like a partial incarnation, or some Shakti of Shiva is there in Hanuman. So therefore, Hanuman can be seen as Shiva Putra, or the origin of Hanuman is Shiva. But then, how did Shiva manifest in the womb of Anjani? Therefore this Vayu was needed, because Vayu, the wind god, he then transported the essence of the seed, the Amrit, brought to Anjani, and when Anjani was in meditation through the ear, Hanuman was kind of, or that essence was given into the body of Anjani, and then she gave birth, and because the father or the husband of Anjani was Keshari, that's why Hanuman is also known as Keshari Putra, Shiva Putra, Vayu Putra, and Keshari Putra. So in this way Hanuman grew up, and then we know how one day Hanuman, Bala Hanuman, Bala is the child Hanuman, in Varanasi, there is a beautiful temple of Bala Hanuman, like a huge murti, I don't know, the head of Hanuman is like this, like huge, like big baby face Hanuman, very big, beautiful, very small temple. So Bala Hanuman, one day he wakes up and he looks out of the window and he sees a great mango hanging in the tree. A huge fruit, very ripe orange fruit. He says, wow, this is amazing. I'm getting very greedy to eat this fruit. He jumps out of the window, jumps towards the tree, tries to catch, but somehow it's not possible. And he's jumping in the sky towards this fruit. What is the fruit? It's actually the sun. It's just sun is rising. Hanuman, this is very nice fruit. So Hanuman is just jumping in the direction of the sun. But it just happened so that at that time there was a sun eclipse and Rahu was just about to cover the sun. So when Hanuman saw Rahu, he thought, oh, there is another fruit. And Hanuman was jumping towards Rahu, trying to catch Rahu. And Rahu was fleeing and running away from this powerful monkey. And he complained to Indra. So then finally Indra showed up, seated on his Airavatar, on this elephant. When Hanuman saw the elephant, he thought, that's another big fruit. And he started to approach the elephant. And then Indra, it became too much for Indra. He took his thunderbolt and he just, smashed Hanuman's, chin. And Hanuman fell on the ground unconscious. And when Vayu saw this, became very upset, like, what's happening here? Hanuman is my son, they're treating my son like this. So Vayu immediately withdrew all the air. And all of a sudden in the whole universe, everyone started to feel, like they didn't have air to breathe anymore. And then they approached Brahma, what's going on? And Brahma said, well, what do you expect? You offended the son of Vayu. That was a great offense. Now you should go there and ask for forgiveness. Not only that, you should also offer all kind of benediction to that small Bal Hanuman. And that's an interesting lesson we can learn from that. Because when we, if we offend a Vaishnava, then first of all we should ask for forgiveness, right? And even that is not so easy often, because many find some excuses. But no, we should actually ask for forgiveness, understand our fault and mistake. But not only that, we should also try to please that Vaishnava. Make sure that the Vaishnava is pleased with us. So it's two things, it's forgiveness, kshama, and also anugraha. It's also favor, making a favor. Because otherwise, if you just say, I'm sorry, it could be also just a lip service, you just say it. But if you actually please the devotee with some service, then the devotee understands, okay, it's serious. So, Jiva Goswami also says this, in order to be freed from offenses unto great souls, one should please that same personality whom one originally offended through constantly engaging in the process of bhakti. Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki. Shishigonitai Ki Jai. So the Devas came, and therefore, because they wanted to, ask for forgiveness, they gave all kind of blessings. Brahma himself gave a long life in this body, as long as his own life, the life duration of Brahma. and that also that he could change his form as he likes. And you will see when you hear the benedictions, if you know Ramayana, if you know the story, you will see how Hanuman used every benediction in the service of Lord Ram. You know, he all used these benedictions in a very in crucial moments. So he was able to change his form as he likes. Then Indra gave him the Hanuman. The name Hanuman, it was given by Indra. And he also gave the blessings that every bone in the body would be hard like a thunderbolt. No, so he couldn't break his bones. Surya came and said, I will be your personal teacher. No, when the time comes for school, I personally will be your teacher. Varuna said that you will never be in danger of water. No water can harm you in any way, in any situation. Yamaraj said, you will never see my punishment, and there will be no sickness and no disease. Adi Ashwini Kumaras, they granted him the topmost health. Shiva, you will be immune from death. And Agni, there will be no danger from fire. And Vishwakarma, immune from any celestial weapons or any other weapons. And finally Vishnu, and what was the blessings of Vishnu? You will be my devotee. And that's of course the most important blessings. So then, of course, then Bala Hanuman was very happy and received all his blessings, but he was still in a boy's body, like a child body. And Prabhupada explains also that, according to the body that we have, our consciousness is then affected by it. If you're in a child's body, you behave like a child, and if you're in an elderly body, then you have become wise, and it's natural. You're the same person. You're the same person, but the consciousness is afflicted by the size of the body, by the experience that we have. So although he got all these blessings because he was a child, he was a naughty child, now he became even more naughty because he had so much power. Nobody could stop him. He could do whatever he wants, nobody could stop him. He knew, I'm so powerful. And then, it's quite interesting. It's similar to Nimai's pastimes in Navadvip, because he also, jumped into the water when the sages were standing there and chanting Gayatri. What did Nimai do? He pulled their beards and all these things. So Hanuman did the same. He pulled the beards of the sages. He spit water in their faces. He was, as a monk, he was eating the scriptures. Imagine it takes so much time to write all this. Eating the scriptures, And when people would put their clothing and go inside, he would tear apart the clothes, and So in this way, he would, when they had a yakya, he would, distinguish the fire and all these things. So they complained to Keshari, Raja, and Anjani, please, you do something. We have to do something. And then they had the idea, okay. Let's the sages. Let's put a curse on him, or like that he should forget about his powers, and only when it is actually required in the service of the Lord he will remind it. Otherwise he should forget about it. Otherwise it becomes too much disturbance. So they did, and then Hanuman again became a normal child and behaved properly. But now, when it was time, when the question came, who is able to jump over the ocean and who can go to Lanka, now it was the time. And Jambavan reminded Hanuman, you can do it. And at that moment, Hanuman, remembered, he got empowered, he jumped, he climbed up to the top of the mountain and he jumped, his feet pressing down the mountain, which began to sink into the ground. And the mountain, there was so much pressure on the mountain that it squeezed out gold and silver. It came out from the mountain, from the touch of Hanuman's foot. And then Hanuman jumped, uprooted trees and plants, and then just jumped over the ocean. And then, of course, there's several obstacles. We're not going into detail of them right now. But there's many obstacles that Hanuman faces. First is the mountain Mainaka, the mountain appears, golden mountain appears in the ocean and offers, please have a little rest. And it stands basically, and what does Hanuman do? Hanuman just touched the peak of the mountain and, sorry, I'm in the service of the Lord. I don't have time for a break. Prabhu, no time, I have to go on the altar now. Like sometimes we're also busy, like. So Hanuman, didn't want to rest on that mountain. And that mountain, and that stands for being fixed and being resolute in purpose and just serving the Lord without getting, because there is a danger if we engage in devotional service that we become more and more opulent and we get the chance to enjoy material facilities, and that tendency to enjoy and to leave service aside, that was a test with this mountain. Then the second was Surasa, which was there's several like sea monsters or rakshasas on the way in the ocean, and that was standing for competitive pride. And then Simika stood for envy, trying to pulling down Hanuman by the shadow. And Lankini finally stands for bewilderment. That was the fourth obstacle. But finally, when Hanuman was able to land in Lanka, it was already night, so he was looking everywhere. He took a small form and he going everywhere looking for Sita. So the first thing, he went to the main palace, and in the main palace he saw the place of Ravana, and he found the harem of Ravana, like a sleeping room with many beautiful women. He was, actually Hanuman was quite impressed by the personality of Ravana, because Ravana was a great personality, quite a powerful personality. The only problem was that he had this envy to Lord Rama, and of course his weakness was women and lust. So he saw many beautiful girls laying around, holding instruments in their hands, playing music. And Hanuman was thinking, I'm a brahmachari, but here I'm in this Madhuchi ashram. This is not appropriate. I shouldn't be here. So many, girls, half-dressed girls, and sleeping girls. But what to do? I'm in a mission. I'm looking for Sita. This is my service. So there's always a higher principle. And he saw Mandodari, the principal queen. And from a moment he was thinking, is this Sita? No, it's not Sita. He was still looking. And he was desperate. Where is Sita? Maybe she's already dead. Maybe she was already devoured by this demon. But finally Hanuman finds among all the Rakshasas, and he went to other buildings, was quite impressed by the opulence of the city. Lanka is built by golden palaces, golden houses, and many Rakshasas. Everyone is enjoying. But then amongst all these Rakshasas, he all of a sudden found a simple straw hut with a tulsi plant in front of the house, and there was a big flag on the roof that said, Jai Shri Ram. And Hanuman was amazed. How is that possible? We're in the midst, in the kingdom of Ravana, and they're all demons. Nobody's a devotee. How is that there is a devotee? Amazed, Hanuman approached, and he realized this was the home of whom? Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, but a devotee of the Lord. And Hanuman was very happy to see him, and they embraced each other. They recognized each other as devotees of the Lord. And they had exchanged a lot of katha, and then Hanuman was asking, how is it possible that you can be like a devotee in the midst of all these demons? And how is it possible that you can put a flag saying Jai Ram? And then he explained, well, if someone, sometimes someone is complaining or kind of challenging me, then I just tell him, Ra stands for Ravana, and Ma stands for Mandodari. All glories to the queen and the king of Lanka. What's the problem? Jai Shri Ram. And then they kind of, okay, okay. So they leave him alone. So it was Vibhishana who told Hanuman, if you want to find Sita, you have to go to the Ashok Grove, to the garden, Ashok garden. There you will find Sita. She's still alive, she's still there. So Hanuman then reaches the garden and sees Sita. She's dressed in a simple yellow garment, sari, but she's filled with sorrow, tears flowing from her eyes, but she's very beautiful and divine. And she's crying and chanting the names of Ram, repeatedly saying, Ram, Ram, where are you? And it was quite difficult to approach Sita because she was surrounded by Rakshasas. And Hanuman saw all of these, carefully studied all these different Rakshasas, and they were very ugly and misshaped forms. And then there's a whole description. Some had one eye on their forehead, not two eyes, but one. Others had huge ears covering their whole bodies. Some had heads like boars, tigers, buffaloes, goats, deer and foxes. The body of a human, but the head of a fox, the head of a buffalo. All kind of size, some small, some large, some dwarf, humpbacks. Some had abnormal long and twisted noses. Some had legs and feet of elephants, camels and horses. Others had hairs down their feet and hands with claws. So in this way there was all kind of fearsome Rakshasas protecting, or not protecting, but guarding Sita. The sight of the Rakshasas made one's hair stand on end. They all had various kinds of weapons and guarded Sita from all sides. So Hanuman was hiding in a tree, waiting, and see when is a good time to approach. And then Ravana came into the garden to see Sita. And Ravana said to Sita, "O most splendid jewel among women, do not be afraid of me. Why do you lie here in a wretched condition? Rise up and enjoy with me. I shall provide you pleasure only known to the gods." Ravana said, but Sita turned her face away, showing no interest. This made Ravana only more eager. Indeed, if there were not for Navakuvera's curse. Now there was a curse, because once Ravana wanted to approach a woman, but it happened to be a powerful yogini, and he got cursed that he cannot rape a woman or just by violence take a woman, but the women that he enjoys need to give their agreement. He can only enjoy women who surrender unto him, but not by force. Actually, all men should have that curse, right? Anyhow, so although Ravana was so lusty and so greedy, that was his only problem. He was restricted in that way. So he had to kind of, win. And usually other ladies, they just surrendered because they were fearful or whatever. But Sita, she was very loyal to Ram and certainly had no interest to surrender unto Ravana. And she told him, "There's no chance I will never accept you." Sita said, you should know me to be as inseparable to Ram as sunlight is inseparable to the sun. Unite me again with Ram if you want to do good for yourself and your Rakshasa dynasty. Otherwise, you and all your friends will be destroyed. I would burn you to ashes by myself, by the power of my chastity, Sita says. And she could. Sita's chastity was so great that Sita could just, by her glance, she could just destroy this Ravana. But I do not have my Lord's order to do so. Nobody told me to do so. Nor do I wish to waste my ascetic's merits on such a wretch as yourself. Why should I waste my mystic powers on someone like you? And Ravana became very angry. He said, few months left before 1 year period is over. If you do not agree, my cooks will prepare my morning meal made from you. I will eat your flesh and drink your blood. Then it's the end of the story. It was Ravana's very romantic way to try to win Sita over. So Ravana left, and some Rakshas women approached Sita, trying to convince her to accept Ravana. When finally everyone left, Hanuman in the tree started to sing the glories of Ram. Sita was amazed to hear, who is singing the glories of Ram in this horrible place? But then she was suspicious, maybe it's another trick of Ravana. And when she saw that the monkey, she felt peace at heart, like from her feeling she felt peace when she saw Hanuman. At the same time she was suspicious, maybe Ravana just took the form of a monkey to try to cheat me in this way. But then Hanuman took the ring, Lord Ram's ring, and gave the ring, and then Sita understood. Okay, he actually is a true messenger of the Lord. And Hanuman tells about Ram, assures that the Ram is ready to kill the demon and rescue her. And then Hanuman says, actually, my service is only to find you and give report. But service is never limited. We should always, That's Keshav Maharaj made a beautiful point a week ago in a disciple meeting with disciples of Kadammakana Maharaj, that Vani is what is left when Guru leaves. Then there is Vani is left, and Vani is he gave different beautiful lecture. He gave different description of what Vani means, and one is that sometimes we may not understand the instruction of Guru immediately, and it requires a little time before we mature and understand fully what Guru wants to tell us. And then Vani is also, it's eternal, it is always valid. We may not be able to immediately fulfill the instruction, but we can do it later, like in the life of Srila Prabhupada. He got received instruction to preach Krishna consciousness in the English language, and his whole life he was meditating, but only when he was old he actually acted upon it. So sometimes maybe we need time to prepare, that's okay, but we should never give up the instruction, we should always follow the instruction at some point. And instruction is not limited, it is unlimited actually. And that's beautifully also in Prabhupada's example, because Prabhupada received the instruction you should preach in the English language. Prabhupada could have gone to London, rent a hall, give a talk on Krishna consciousness in English and return to Vrindavan. No? But he would have fulfilled the instruction of his guru. I have preached Krishna consciousness in the English language, and then go back to Vrindavan, do the bhajan, and peacefully. But no, he took that instruction, preach in English language, to preach all over the world. Traveled 14 times around the globe, established 108 temples, initiated thousands of disciples. So Prabhupada, there was no limit in this. He expanded that instruction. So similarly, Hanuman felt like, okay, my goal is, my mission is to find Sita, but now I'm here, I can bring Sita back. No, why I will jump back so Sita can be on my shoulders. I just bring her back. So he tells Sita, you jump on my back, I will just bring you to your Lord. And what is Sita's response?
That's the beauty of my husband.
Yes, here we